So I'm still here with my little project for the library that I want to create for the classroom, and I got the stickers. I'm going to cut them in half at 5.5 inches, and then I'm going to create little strips like this that will serve as a bookmark, but also will be their little library card, so they can check out books in the classroom. So I'm really here to talk about Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. This is a young adult book, and this is the second book that I finished for the Trans Rights Readathon. That is still going on. Today is day 4, and I listened to this one from the library. I used my my Libby app to listen to the audiobook for this one. And the audiobook is great if you have the chance to listen to the audiobook. The narrator, which is Christopher Myers, they did a beautiful job at just creating the atmosphere with all of the characters, you know, specifically because there's a lot of characters that are children, and then we are also looking at these different creatures, for example, pet, and then just bringing their voice to life. They did an amazing job, and I'm really glad I got to listen to that one. So the story is about Jam. She lives in a kind of like a utopian world where all the monsters have been vanished from this world. So there's you know, children and everyone that lives in this place, which is the name of the place is Lucille. They are monster-free city, so there's nothing to worry about. Children can be free and never have to worry about anything, and it's just ideal, right? So we end up finding out that Jam finds out that there's actually monsters in this world, and but the monsters that we are typically used to in like stories that we read, this is not the same type of monster that we're dealing with. This book just started right away with an incredible note from the author, and talking specifically to the reader, and it is called Dear Reader, and it just talks about the real life monsters that we have, that we see day to day. And you know, they're talking about the monsters that would hurt people that are more vulnerable, and people that would put children in cages, and it just gives several different examples, and I just kept going back and re-listening to that part over and over again, because as a reader specifically, or we can be used to all kinds of monsters, especially if you would like to read anything related to fantasy. You can be used to all kinds of monsters that look different, but what about the monsters that look just like you and me? So like I said, monsters that we see every day that look just like you and me, that you know, specifically to what we're doing here with the Trans Rights Readathon, people that are in power and will pass laws that you know are gonna hurt a lot of people, and it was just it hit me really hard, and that's why I kept going back to.
Dear reader, they don't make evil like they used to. politicians make policies putting children in cages and allow big companies to pour poison into our air and water. But they will say they are just doing it to support business, and that we'll all reap the benefit of the poison eventually. There are people who scream their hatred to the skies, burn torches, and mock those who are different from themselves. Even they have their excuses, usually something about protecting a way of life. There are no villains anymore. On television, in movies, villains are easily recognizable. The bad guys wear long dark robes and have no noses, or wear tight-fitting suits and have red eyes. There is something comforting in this idea, that when you see evil, you will know it. That it cannot be hiding in the everyday faces of people you ride the bus with, or go to school with, or share a sandwich with at lunch. Hannah Arendt, the political philosopher, coined the phrase, the banality of evil. That evil is very often terrifyingly normal. She knew, as many who have suffered do, that the worst things can happen in the blandest of places, between the lines in a textbook omitting large swaths of history, or in the hushing of a child who has something important to say. All these things are done in the name of keeping our world safe, consistent, banal. And when our villains have new costumes and haircuts in the latest styles, where will we say that evil lives? Will it be in the voices that dare to disturb that peaceful illusion? Het asks precisely these questions, in a voice that is as clear and poetic as in any of their work for adults. Akwaeke examines the journey that evil has made, from monstrosity to mainstream. This adventure, set in any place America, thinks about language and communication. For versatility in listening and speaking is essential to understanding where we are in the world, to see past the lie that there are no longer any villains. Akwaeke asks us readers to reconsider our monsters, to look past the comforting illusions, and, along with Jam and Redemption, hunt for the true villains in our midst. Christopher Myers.
So with this one, I did sort of the same thing that I did with When Moves the Dead. I just kept writing things because there was just so much that I wanted to keep, and I wanted to write all of the feelings that I had while I was listening to this book. So I pretty much had my notebook open and I just kept writing. Some of the quotes that I found in this book, and so relatable to our society right now, is the problem. The problem is when you think you've been without monsters for so long, sometimes you forget what they look like, and it's just like beautifully written and so relatable. And then it says, forgetting is how the monsters come back. There's other ones that I have here, but at one point, as I was listening, I was also thinking, with our children, how many times have we left our children in the hands of monsters, thinking that, these are the people who love them, and these are the people who are supposed to take care of them and help us raise them, and they turn out to be a monster. And it's just like all of these thoughts and all of these reflection that went into while I was listening to this book. I just want to say that I really like the relationship between Bitter and Aloe, which are Jam's. Jam is our main character. The relationship of Jam's parents. It was just it was just so cute, but at the same time, like, you see how they support each other, and you can feel the love that they have for each other and the love that they have for Jam. It was just palpable. It was a really nice thing to read in this story, that between everything, all of the things that were going on in this story, the center of it was just like this family that was so united by their love. I would just say that, the ending, when I was with Redemption, and I was all for, pets getting rid of a certain person, and I was all for it, and I'm like, I don't care. But Jam is the voice of reason here. She knows that they're not just going to believe these two kids, that they actually need the whole town of, or city of Lucille, to know that monsters are still among them, and that they need to do something, and things need to change. So but for a minute there, I was like, oh yeah, let's just do it. Pet, just get on with it. And if you read it, you know what I mean. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, it was a great book. You know, a lot of reflection that I had to do, a lot of hard parts to read. Definitely look for the content warnings. There is, you know, any child abuse, and it's very prominent in this story. So I would advise you to check the trigger warnings before going into this one. I definitely thought it was worth the read, even though, like I said, it was hard for me to finish it. But definitely a a book that will stick with me for a while, and an author that I would go back and read other books because the writing was just beautiful. Highly recommend it if you are not triggered by the content warnings in this book. So check them out, please. So just like in the previous video, this one is a little late. I am late uploading videos here on YouTube, but these books, I read them throughout the Trans Rights Readathon in the month of March. But anyway, if you are in the fence about reading pets, I hope this helped a little bit and you give this author a chance. But for now, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.